Well, man, yeah, I am me again, and you said, "Gadzooks, I've got it. They should name Copilot Studio after me. I solved something else that was once impossible to figure out." Tell me again, what have we discovered now with generative answers and Copilot Studio?
A big problem that we run into when we're looking up things inside of data sources like an API or like Dataverse. In this situation, I really wanted to use Dataverse for my data and or for my data backend, and it's kind of difficult to go and grab that Dataverse information because it comes back as a great big table, and the generative response. So if I take that output that I have from Dataverse and I drop it directly into my generative answer, Copilot doesn't know what to do with it. It isn't in a format that it can recognize, and I get an error. And so what you need to do is you have to format the data correctly in a way that the generative answer can then use. Would you like to see that, Alex?
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Yes. All right. Here we go. This is the design surface of my bot, and you can see here I have a connector that connects into Dataverse. Now, for the actual filter row, check out another video where we talk over how you can use generative answers to populate the OData. But let's assume that that's done and I'm getting data back. And as you see here in my variable, I have 19 items. And if we take a look at these items, I know it's kind of small here, but you can see let's make it bigger. You can see this is the format that comes out. And I'll have to do something with this. I can't just hand this table over to my generative answers. Otherwise, it'll throw me an error. So what we do here is we have to set a particular variable, and then we use a function to put it into the correct format. And this is what that function looks like. Essentially, what you do is you do a for all, and a for all is a loop over over a table in Copilot Studio language. A table is anything that comes back as like an OData object or like a JSON object, or OData for that reason kind of comes back as a record. This is how we format this particular thing. We do a format for all, and it knows it has to iterate then through each item in the table. And I am doing something here. I say, okay, I want to, over for all, I want to iterate over this output that I got right here. So that comes from this guy right here. Okay, that's my output value, the one that we're seeing right there. Okay, so I do this over that particular variable, and then I've got this particular format that it has to be in. I have to have something that says content. All right, and this is important. This is what it needs. Content, then I concatenate. I'm using a concatenate command to put all the things that I want inside my content. There are two other elements that go into this. There is title. So if you have something that is that you want to put a title on, in this case, I could use my material code here as a title. Otherwise, you have the content link, and the content link is where you want to put in your citations. So when it comes back with information, it should have a citation, and that citation is what you use then as a content link. So if I have that, the generative answer is going to know how to use that. I wire that up by coming into my generative answer right here, and in this case, I'm not allowing the AI to use its own knowledge. I want to use the data that I give it. I go into classic data, and I'm going to put my output variable right here in this custom data area. All right, so let's see how this works. So I'm going to do a Windows V here and grab my handy dandy prompt. I'm going to hit that, and we'll take a look at how the variables run here. So as dynamic chaining reaches up and grabs this guy, we'll see a check mark appear. And as that check mark appears, now we generate answer. Again, see our other video for that. I get my OData, and you can see here I come back with 19 items. And so what I need to do is my output, my 19 items was what we looked at before, right? That is from Dataverse. And then I format that. And how I format that looks like this. So here you see I have my content and all the information set up so my generative answers can read that. And then of course, here is my output. So it responds back with my output. Now, Alex asks, why are there only 3 when you got 19? So the reason is Copilot Studio is designed to input and use a number of different data sources. You can see here, I've got the classic data, I've got my knowledge sources, I even have the AI to use its general knowledge. So by design, Copilot Studio summarizes and truncates your data. So there is some work that you have to do right here in order to get it to see all of the data or to expand on the data that it has. So that is something that you need to do within your own development. But that's cracking the code, Alex. This doesn't have to be from Dataverse. It can be anything, an API that returns you value. It can be SQL that comes back. Anything it recognizes as a table, you can do this on. What you're also seeing here, Alex, is the ability to really democratize all your data, to be able to pull in multiple different data sources into Copilot Studio. That it truncates it is not a bad thing. You just need to make sure that it comes in the correct format. So I can have multiple answers from multiple different sources that come in. I can concatenate all of it together into one great big amalgamation into that generative answer. So it really is a way that you can take your data that lives anywhere, Dataverse, SQL, APIs, line of business applications, you name it, and be able to pull it into your generative application.
No, it's very cool, and we're excited to be sharing with our customers just the many, many different opportunities that they could have with Copilot Studio on the front end and virtually ton of different options on the back end and how easy it is to connect everything. So thank you, Matt, for your discovery, for sharing this with us here today.
You got it.